Good morning, everybody. My name is BDF44. Thank you for clicking on my face. I know many of you may be tired of the same topic, racism, race, relations in America, and all that stuff. I am a more multifaceted individual than that, but unfortunately, I'm consumed. I'm consumed with using my voice for this purpose at this moment. So I hope it leads to people having some sort of conversation within their own circles after watching my videos, or maybe having a nice little thought moment about what's being said. And that's all I can really hope for. I know a lot of y'all probably click off my videos before I'm done talking because I get a little long-winded. That's okay too. I just appreciate you guys being interested, and we'll move forward. So today, I just got to be having a conversation, pretty respectful, and I left out of the situation feeling good. With an individual, a white individual, came to us very respectful on the platform that he was speaking on. I think it was one of academics' posts in regards to Chicago having a very bloody and deadly Father's Day. Rest in peace to everybody who lost anybody in this war out there. And my point of view when it comes to stuff like this is of 2 points. One, and first and foremost, we must hold ourselves accountable for the actions that we make happen. If and I use the word if responsibly, if we are indeed doing what it is that is being reported, we need to try to change the culture within ourselves, and of course stop looking at each other as the enemy, because we have a common enemy. You know how that goes. I've said that conversation maybe more than once. So we need to get ourselves together. And the second point is, why are they there in the first place? I want each and every person who's critical of this behavior to consider why they are there. And as I said to the gentleman that I was speaking to, we didn't put ourselves there. We didn't put ourselves in that position. We never put together no guns of our own. We didn't create guns in the hood. There's no poppy fields out there, Chicago. You know what I'm saying? They didn't concoct these drugs and make them themselves. They didn't put liquor stores on every corner. We don't own those liquor stores. These things were put in place for us to do what it is that we do. The bricks in the street, that tactic that they use, placing bricks in the street for rioters and people of Black Lives Matter to destroy property. Yeah, that was a metaphor for how they've treated us in just about every facet of this country. They frame us and they give us things to tempt us, just like a devil would. Devil gives you something that'll tempt you to do wrong, and then want to give you the worst harsh consequences after doing what it is that he gave you the tools to do. That is what they are doing. This is devilish behavior. It's parallel, very parallel, and it's not a coincidence. But they put those bricks out there for us to throw at property so that they can paint us as some type of evil savages that don't know how to act. That is the same thing they did with our lives in regards to these communities. They placed us in these communities. They gave us bricks, aka drugs, guns, liquor. They made sure they didn't fund the educational system. And you know what that does when a person doesn't know any better. They put people in positions to infiltrate a lot of these communities and start gang wars. We know about this, especially in Los Angeles with the Bloods and Crips. In the 80s, this was being done. Cops were doing the drive-bys, blaming it on rival sets, arresting motherfuckers, throwing them in rival hoods, and leaving them there with no way to protect themselves, sometimes without even any clothing. We know of these things. They manipulate both sides, and they sit back and they say, oh, black on black crime, they're such savages. You gave them everything and even incentive to do what they're doing. They're doing it because of you. Let's just be honest. Stop lying to people. When you want these wars to go up, it's election time, and you want things to be bloody, you make sure they get bloody. You own everything. You got all the resources. You can stop all this shit at any time. You gentrify neighborhoods left and right at will. You want gangs out of a place, you send in your KKK cops. They sweep through there. You throw RICO charges at everybody. You manipulate the laws to make sure that people go to jail forever. And you simply move white people in after cleaning up the joint. You do it everywhere. You could do it in Chicago. You could do it here. You can do it there. You can do it anywhere. So let's stop this bullshit about black on black crime like these people have any control over what it is that's going on around them. They don't. You threw them in a very, very fucked up situation. You gave them a bunch of bullshit that they could use to destroy shit, and you sat there and watched them do it. So fuck you for that. Let's just be honest. I'm tired of playing. Yes, do we need to do better now that we know this? A lot of people don't know this. A lot of black people are still in situations where they're blaming one another for the circumstances that they didn't create. They're still mad at one another for being mad at one another instead of saying, you know what, that's the fucking problem. We're mad at the wrong people. We look at one another like we're responsible for our environments and our circumstances. We're not even speaking our own fucking language. Let's just be honest. This is their concoction. They dreamt this up. This is how they wanted us. This is how they control us. So that we don't turn our attention to taking everything that they have, or turn our attention to making them hold themselves accountable for what it is that they've done to so many. This is why you're fighting one another, because they know the best soldiers are in these streets. And they can't have them soldiers pointing them guns at them, so they had better concoct some way to make them soldiers shoot at each other. And they've effectively done that. From sea to sign and fucking sea. So, at this point in time, yes, do we need to change what we're doing? Yes. Accountability is most important. If we want our enemies to hold themselves accountable, we need not refrain from doing so for ourselves. Hold yourself accountable, see the fruit in that. Put the fucking guns down. Or if you're going to point them at somebody, don't point them at one another. Understand why you're there. Understand what was given to you to put you in that position and start playing chess just like these assholes have been playing above you. Stop frequenting the places that they put in your hoods to destroy you. Stop doing stuff you have no business doing. Turn your attention to this fight so that you can have opportunities outside of the small ones that you have. And please don't listen to individuals that'll tell you there's no hope. You are the hope. It's your fear that keeps you from rising. Nothing else. They are not in a position to keep information from you anymore. You have a phone in your hand. You can't do it anymore. Knowledge of self is one click away. Learn who you are. And learn what you're involved in. And understand who did what to you. Stop shooting at people that ain't did shit to you. I use an analogy in that same conversation about mice in a rat maze. I think I may have said it on camera yesterday. But it's the same shit. We mad at each other. We mice in a fucking maze, running around. Turn your attention to the dude holding the goddamn maze key. Who's ever in control of the maze, that's who you need to turn your attention to. Whoever put you in those circumstances. Not another mouse, just as lost as your ass is. At the same disadvantage as you. You mad at him like he has any control over fixing your shit? He don't have no control over you. He's in the same problem you're in. You got to turn your attention to who put you in that fucking position. And that's the truth. If we're going to wake up to that. So yes, do we have a problem? A big one. Did we create the root of that issue? Did we start this problem? No. We were pushed into these circumstances. We've been coerced into these circumstances. We were given the bricks, and now we're tossing them around. And they're sitting back laughing. That's why they would try some shit like that. Just to bring it back to reality. That's why they would put some bricks out in the street. Because they've been able to do it in so many other areas, and it's worked. So of course they're going to try that shit with you now. What they weren't realizing, for whatever reason, is that we're all holding cameras. It's the only reason why they were caught this time. They've been doing it the whole time. And that's what we all need to understand. That's why I love having conversations like this on camera and like the one I had before I pressed play. Because it allows us to have some perspective for one another. He was giving me his perspective, but he was missing so many angles. Homeboy was talking about, well, you know, with all due respect, he was trying not to offend, you know, how they have to be right now, of course. Feel for him because it sucks. But, you know, you got to be politically correct, so he kept on giving me the disclaimer and then proceeded to tell me I don't see how privileged, because all you got to do is just put the guns down and pick up a book and get fed up with how things are, and just change. And I was like, well, buddy, you're right. But that's when it starts getting interesting. That's when the privilege kicks in. Because when I go outside and say I'm fed up, I want to fix my life, I run into more obstacles than you will. That's what it comes down to. If I want to go buy property, I have to run into the bullshit. We know about redlining. We know what it is. If If I go out and try to get a loan, run some more bullshit. Go out and try to get a good job to get me off my feet, run some bullshit. If I happen to get a job, I go out in the streets. I drive around. I have to worry about whether or not a cop is going to want to blow my head off for pulling over to the side. Because I've been working 16 hours trying to get my life together, right? I'm tired. So I pull over to the side of the street, maybe pull into a Wendy's somewhere or something. All of a sudden I'm getting guns pointed at me and they shooting. I'm not even halfway woke up yet. Like, these are the type of things that he don't never have to worry about. You know, he's looking at privilege from a standpoint of they give you a free ride, like you got a spoon in your mouth and you just going, no, that's not white privilege. White privilege comes in the differences in how we're handled. When we both decide that we don't want to have these issues anymore that we created, and he puts down his vices and I put down my vices and I decide to get my life together, we run into different problems. His path should be easier if he follows it correctly. Because it's set up for him to get all that he needs to get on his feet. That's what capitalism's about. Getting fed up with how things are and just working your way and saving your way and investing your way into to oblivion, to all the money in the world. But that path is more difficult for people of color than it is for whites. It just is. The system is set up that way. Now, individuals may handle things differently. Maybe he handles what he has worse than I handle the obstacles in front of me. And therefore I get there and he doesn't. That doesn't mean it wasn't set up for him to win. It just means that he wasn't able to capitalize on his privilege. And I was able to overcome my obstacles. And evidence of that will make you think that I had an easier path or that it was set up for me to win. It wasn't set up for me to win. I just found a way. And that's the perspective that people are missing when they don't have conversations. They don't get that. They're not aware of that. It's not like your cousin's gonna run around and say, hey, we're screwing the black guy so you can get up, so get it right. They're not gonna tell you that. They're gonna tell you to worship the flag. Blue Lives Matter. MAGA. A bunch of rah-rah shit for you to hover around, believe in, and ignore the mistreatment of people of color. And you do that because it's comfortable, and you got people to the left of you, to the right of you agreeing with you, so it's fine. And this is ours, but it's wrong. And it's been wrong, and it's never been right. It's never been great. It's true. Not everybody's gonna have a free ride. Not every black person's gonna run into as many obstacles as maybe some poor white person. It's not necessarily like that. Everybody has their own path, but the system itself is set up so that if the white guy does certain this, that, and the third, he ain't gonna run into no problems. And if the black guy tries to go out and do the same thing, it's gonna run into different shit. Everything's case by case, but the system itself is set up for that to happen. That's what white privilege is. And I try to explain that to him, and I hope he got it. I haven't seen his response to the last couple of things I wrote because I turned on the video. But that is the gist of my message. And I hope people understand what I'm saying when I say it's not perfect. You know, they're not going to be able to carry every white person to glory. Just like they're not going to be able to drag every black person to hell. It doesn't work that way. All you can really do is put a system in place and say, here. That's what they've done. So when you see examples of where it doesn't apply, it just didn't apply in that case. That's the beauty of physics of life. So you're not going to have everything happen the same way every time, even if you attempt to do it the same way every time. It's just not going to work that way. So when it falls through the cracks, it's not an example of the system not existing. It's just an example of the system not applying in that position, that particular case. Anyway, I guess with that being said, I've said enough. My name is BDF44. Thank you for watching and listening to what I have to say. Normally I try to be as respectful as I can, but I don't think that's possible right now. Raw emotion is probably more valuable than being PC if you're an African American giving a perspective piece in 2020. I think what the world needs from me is raw emotion. I don't think the world needs from me to be PC or say what's kind. or act like everything's fine right now. You know, I don't think you need that from us. When you look back on the videos made by Black talking heads from 2020, you probably should be seeing a lot of stuff like conversations like this. This is what we're going through, man. This is our now. And while we would rather be talking about basketball or talking about music or other things, distracting things, we got to handle this here. So, for the time being, this is the content I have for you. And when the world gets back to normal, I'll get back to normal with it. Thank you guys for paying attention. PDF.